I absolutely hate Overwatch. I think it is one of the most ridiculous rules in Warhammer 40,000, and I think it should change. But it's not going to change. Is it, Liam?
I don't think it's changing anytime soon, sir.
It's not going to change. So in this video, Liam and I are going to show you a few ways that you can mitigate against the effectiveness of Overwatch. We're going to give you 5 tips, and the last one is going to be our favourite, so stick around to the end of the episode. Okay, so in this first example, I'm going to use a unit of Inceptors against a unit of Breachers. Now, Breachers are a horrendous unit to get Overwatched by, aren't they, Liam?
Yeah, I did used to like doing that quite a lot.
Liam knows all too well, as do I, how horrendous Breachers are to be Overwatched. So let's say I want to bring these Inceptors down into play with their meteoric descent ability, but I don't want to just bring them down to shoot the Breachers to then just die on an Overwatch, okay? So a lot of players, when they're first playing the game, might just bring them down and think, I'll just bring them down really close and I'll just try and kill all these Breachers, mate, so I see them all. But if you're worried about that with Overwatch, what you can do is you can bring the Inceptors down or bring a model into line of sight to shoot these Breachers, but make sure that your unit can see one of the Breacher models in full, okay? But not necessarily seen by the whole Breacher unit. So these 6 Inceptors can all clearly see this Breacher here. But Liam's Breacher unit, only 2 of them have line of sight to my Inceptors. So what that means is if Liam chooses to Overwatch, he's only shooting with 2 models. Whereas I'm going to be shooting my whole 6 models at his. Because on my end, I just need to be able to see 1 model to kill his whole unit. Whereas Liam, he might be able to kill my whole unit, but he'd have to be pretty lucky because only 2 can see. So that's a great tip for mitigating against the power of Overwatch. Make sure your unit can see 1, just make sure their whole unit can't see all of yours.
So, tip number 2 that I quite like using myself is trying to tempt an Overwatch out. So if you know that you're going to be dropping your big expensive unit of Interceptors right there, what you might do, depending on the experience of your opponent, is put one of your cheaper chaff units and just sort of bring them out onto the board so the Breachers have that view. You know, you always drop the little...
Yeah.
Going to Overwatch then?
And that's always a good thing to do. Just, do you want to Overwatch? Let your opponent know that, like,
you've got the CP.
Do you want to take it?
Yeah, you've got the CP. Do you want to Overwatch? And it's just that slight little bit of mind games that's not too much of a Cosby, but just trying to bait out that Overwatch.
Yeah, it's good. So you basically, what your tip is kind of ramping up to your most valuable piece. So don't just move your most important unit first that you're worried about. Try and tempt them out with smaller, less important Overwatches. So you're like, great, it's out of the way. Now
and this feeds into how you play the game anyway, isn't it? Is you plan your turn. You don't just ad hoc your turn as you're doing it, do you? You plan your turn before you start moving anything. And that's what you think, well, they've got an Overwatch. He's got a CP for an Overwatch. So let's bait out with a real chaff unit. He hasn't gone for the chaff unit. Right, I've got this one other unit that I might not want to be there, but are they all right there eating a CP on an Overwatch, allowing me to bring my big boys in to eat that Overwatch because I know he's going to do it.
Yeah, great tip.
So tip 4 we're going to go with is moving the game state in a way in which you make your opponent spend their CP. So you think, I know that unit wants to Overwatch, but is there anything else I can do within my turn to make them burn that 1 CP they've got, or make them think that they're going to need the 1 CP they've got for an Armour of Contempt, or a reactive move is the other one at the moment, isn't it, that a lot of people are using. And it's just baiting out them using their CP so they can't physically Overwatch you.
And sometimes, like, it's actually good because you've mentioned that Overwatch can be quite swingy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is quite a good, as much as I hate Overwatch, sometimes you do feel quite good if your opponent Overwatches and you're like, oh great, you just burned a CP and I was really worried about your fight first stratagem. Yeah. You now can't do that. Fine. Yeah. Do you know what? Overwatch, do your worst.
And that's the best feeling ever though, isn't it? When someone goes to Overwatch you and they roll it and they go, and you're like, oh, I haven't hit anything.
You've literally just thrown a CP away.
You've burnt your CP, it's done absolutely nothing, and now I can get on with what I actually wanted to do.
And in a lot of examples, a lot of games that I've seen and played, Overwatch doesn't have a huge impact on the game. It has a huge impact with those better players that have designed the list to work with Overwatch. It's you see a lot of tables of people like, oh, I'll Overwatch because I can. Yeah. But at the sharper end of the Warhammer 40,000 spectrum, where people have designed the lists around certain abilities, like those Breachers, like we keep mentioning over and over again.
Yeah.
Great unit to Overwatch with, lists built around them. But a lot of cases, it is people just randomly,
it's like, I've got a CP, you've moved that, I might as well have a pot shot. You're like, well, no, think about what you're actually doing with those CP.
Definitely. Okay, great. So the fifth one, Liam, I was just sort of saying to you downstairs that I've got a
you haven't let me into this yet, which I'm a
great way. Yeah, and I wanted this to sort of be a bit of a surprise to Liam, is to actually get a hammer like this, really good against Liam's breach unit, and
what
just
are you doing?
fucking smack it with a hammer.
No,